Well, thanks to everyone that's tuning back into another CSE listed issuer update. Today, I am talking to Don Currie. Don is the CEO of Hillcrest Energy, trades on the CSE under the symbol HEAT. Don, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you're well.
Yeah, we're well, and thanks very much for the opportunity to speak to the CSE shareholders.
Absolutely. So why don't we begin by you just giving our audience an introduction to your company? What is Hillcrest Energy, and what do you guys do?
We're a power energy technology platform, and that what we've done over the last couple of years is last 2 years exactly, is that we've assembled a team, had an idea, went to a proof of concept to a commercial prototype, and are now in development stages. But the bottom line is we have what we believe to be a cutting edge technology, a first mover technology, which is zero voltage switching, and we're focusing initially, I should say, on the EV or mobility market. And so our technology is one that we haven't seen in the marketplace. We don't believe it exists in the marketplace. So we're quite excited about implementing it with the various players within the sector.
Are you able to dive a little bit more into your technology? I'm quite curious because you guys are developing power conversion technologies, if I'm right, correct?
Yes, the power conversion technology. So the first thing is it's an inverter. Our first product is an EV inverter, which is zero voltage switching. It's soft switching right now. The vast majority, if not all, of the EVs on the road use a hard switching application. Okay. Soft switching allows for higher switching frequencies. It eliminates switching losses, and it has a thermal control to it just because of the highest level of efficiency. To give you an example, our inverter is tested out at about just under 99.5% efficiency, whereas an average EV inverter might test out anywhere from 94 to 98%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a huge difference with the overall benefits to the EV manufacturer and the end user.
Got it. This is such an exciting space right now. There's so much interest, not only from investors, but just overall from the general public in it. Don, I'm curious, how did you get into this space? Tell us a little bit about your background.
The company was oil and gas for 10 years before we started this. We knew that the oil and gas was too difficult for a small company to get into the size and space that you needed to be relevant in the oil and gas business. We just weren't going to make it. So we looked at a transition strategy. The transition strategy was to get into clean tech or clean energy. We did some research. We reviewed various areas. Once we found an area we wanted to go in, which was the mobility, and we were lucky enough to bring in our CTO, Ari Berger, who had experience in there, the idea formed itself at that point in time. So once the idea was formed, we had to reinvent the company by bringing in people qualified, experienced, and successful in the direction we were going in. And that started with Ari Berger. Then we added other people, which you can get into in a minute, but we added other people and the dream was born. So essentially April 21 is when we hit the ground running with this particular focus. And like I say, we've accomplished so much in a 2-year period and about to accomplish a lot more coming forward.
I know you've mentioned Ari a little bit there. Why don't you talk a little bit about your team? Because, obviously, as you mentioned, a success of a company is all dependent on the team that you have. So tell us a little bit about, your people.
Yeah, Ari is the CTO. He's a control system specialist. Bottom line is Ari is the type of person that can take an electrical machine, electrical system, and make it more efficient through his software, his algorithms. We purchased his company in April of 21. And in parallel to that, he came on as a CTO. He had the idea of pursuing the mobility sector with the soft switching or zero voltage switching inverter. He then brought in, now that's the software part. Then what Ari did is Ari introduced us to, and we were successful in arranging a cooperation agreement with Systematic, owned and operated by Harold Henstenberger, and they're located in Landsberg, Germany. Now, Systematic is a hardware provider and does hardware technologies in the EV space for the large German OEMs, as well as some of the world's best known global tier one suppliers. Their website will have the names on there. Now we had the hardware and the software to be able to move forward with building out the what we had at the time, the dream of this EV inverter, the soft switching inverter. Subsequent to that, we've added other people to the company. We've on the board level, we have Michael Moskowitz, who was former CEO and chairman of Panasonic North America. So we always look to add experience, not only experience and knowledge, but people with a network that would come in. We added Dr. George Burkhoff, who is former 20 years senior management with Daimler Chrysler Mercedes, and was part of the team that actually was developing EV within Mercedes at the time. He's a strategic advisor and very instrumental at opening up doors for us. James Hammond was brought in. He's currently resides in Melbourne, Australia. James was one of the founders of a technology that is similar. It goes to efficiencies, but not as advanced as we are. So a very good engineer to have on board. And then two other people I'll add to it is James Boland, who owned a global company. It was actually called Global Power Technologies, a Gentherm company that sold units throughout the world. And then he brought in Dan Coker, who we recently announced. Dan Coker is an automotive executive. He's had two companies that have approached and exceeded $1 billion in value, both automotive accessories, and again, his experience not only in the manufacturing and in the commercialization of products, so on and so forth, but also his network of companies we can access and funding entities is good. So we've built I would say, a world-class team for a small company, one of the best teams you could ever have for a small company, but it does indicate that we have the experience and the knowledge to take it to the next level.
Well said. Well said. Now, I know you guys have been very busy. Your team has been very busy in 2023. I noticed you guys had a news release. I think it was last month, if I'm not wrong, successfully completing your first milestone. Why don't you talk to our audience a little bit about what 2023 has been like leading up to the first milestone?
Yeah, well, to get into 2023, James Boland has always said that we're an R&D company that's more on the D right now. We're more in the development. So the first 2 years we're in the research and getting to the development, from proof of concept to commercial prototype, and then signing MOUs with companies. And in this particular industry or sector, the focus is on the companies you're dealing with that we look at as potential partnerships or customers. They want milestones to be reached. So they'll give us a list of milestones that once reached, they will get into definitive commercial agreement discussions. So show us this, show us that, we'll show you, so on and so forth. It's fairly standard. There's traditionally 3 or 4 milestones in each one of the development deals. We've publicly stated that we have 7 companies that we're in various levels of development with. 3 are priority just based on that they were first in, and the other ones are following the same path anyway. So whatever we do with the first 3, that information flows down. The first milestone, we had the commercial prototype. We were able to demonstrate the effectiveness of the commercial prototype from our lab, and this global tier 1 supplier accepted all the tests. They gave us a list of what they wanted. They accepted all the test results and everything that was involved in milestone 1 and signed off on that. That is a very big milestone and not to be overlooked to take us into milestone 2. Milestone 2 involves work in both their development facility and our development facility, where technology and actual platforms are used and transferred between both to show the effectiveness, to integrate the technology into their use. We're about, I'd say, halfway through milestone number 2. Each one of these milestones come with cost recovery from the tier 1 supplier, is that they are covering the development of these programs with them. We've also talked about a European OEM openly, and in yesterday's update we talked about it. The European OEM took a step forward, and it was very, very positive for us, where a motor was provided. One of their motors was provided to our partner's facility in Landsberg, Germany, with a specific list of requirements or tests that they wanted to see in results. That bypassed basically a milestone 1. We went right into milestone 2. Over the last month and a half, we have successfully completed the tests that they required, the tests that they asked for, and have produced the results to them. They were in attendance while the tests were being run. We then announced that in the next 4 weeks, we expect the European OEM to come back with next steps as towards how we go. Are there more tests? Are we going to a commercial definitive agreement? Each one of the people that we've listed on the chart that was in our public presentation are advanced to the point where we're running them parallel. We're pretty much in milestone 2 for the majority of them. We look at Q3 and Q4 of this year as ones where we're into milestone 3, if not 4, and that's where the commercial definitive agreement discussions start, which adds numbers, values, what we'd be looking for in the future.
Got it. What's shareholder sentiment been like?
Well, we have a really good and loyal group of shareholders. We're primarily retail based. Institutions are just starting to look at us. Like everybody, they would like things to move quicker. Where we are the ones that are deciding the time frame, we can move quick. We can move fast. It takes a certain amount of time to develop technology, but we're not always the ones that are dictating the time in between milestones. The companies we're dealing with, they have their own time frames, policies, test bench availability, so on and so forth. But overall, I would say that our shareholder temperament is quite positive. They believe in and see the value going forward. They would like us to get to commercial definitive agreements. And of course, we're doing whatever we can and taking the steps necessary to get to there.
And so what would you like to say to anyone and our audience, as well as anyone that might be on the sidelines?
Well, a couple of things. First off, whatever a company says they're going to do in whatever industry they're going to say that they're in, you have to look at the team and see if what they say they want to do is able to be pulled off with the people that they have involved. I think we've already gone through the team. I think we have a team that has gone from concept to commercialization to very, very high values. And from that end of it, you can't bet against our team. Our technology to this point has demonstrated to be at a commercial level far more advanced than anyone else that might indicate that they're in the same space as us. But I guess the best thing for me to say is we believe we're first in movement here and much farther advanced than anyone else. So from a team perspective and a technology perspective, we're involved in an industry that is showing massive growth. We are a technology platform. We are not just a product. And our platform is agnostic to the mobility. So use. So while we're starting with mobility, we will be going over into stationary uses such as solar, wind, grid applications, so on and so forth. And we've talked about that publicly. And that will start as early as the end of this year. So there's parallel paths. Our technology is it has multiple applications and uses, and has an end value in an industry that's exploding. The opportunities are endless, and we're looking to carve out a piece as a leader in that.
Well said. Well said. Now, where can our viewers go to find out more information on your company, sign up for your press release so they can keep up with news and read up on your team?
Yeah, well, as always, they can follow us. The symbol is HEAT on the CSE. We trade on the CSE. We have a quote on the OTCQB. HLRTF is down there. Our website, hillcrestenergy.tech, TECH. Everything is on the website. You can sign up for our mailing list. We'll keep you updated on everything else that's going on. Our presentations are on there. Our white papers are on there for more technical people. So I think any information that's required can be found and researched from our website. Other than that, you can just call the company. More than likely, you're going to get me, but it's 604-609-0006, and you've got the company.
I love it. Staying accessible with your audience. Don, I wish you and your team nothing but success as you move forward with these milestones. I look forward to having you on in the next couple of months so we can talk a little bit more about the progress of the company. To everybody watching, you've been listening to Don Currie. Don is the CEO of Hillcrest Energy Technologies, listed on the CSE. Don, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Can't say enough about having an opportunity to be able to service this or talk on this platform. Thank you.
Perfect.